Hey, how's it going?
Well, Eli, when you look at the other night, obviously you guys made enough plays, probably got enough yards, but some key situations kind of just did you in.
Yeah, I think that's the tell of the story, lack of execution in critical moments, and we learn from it, we move on. Um, you know, there were abundance of opportunities, and that's the thing that keeps you up at night. But for whatever reason, we didn't make those plays, and we're going to learn from it. We're going to move on.
Brett's been so good, and particularly against these teams that want to blitz and things of making them pay for it down the field. It just seemed like a foot off here or there most of the night. Any particular reason it was the timing was just kind of off?
Just wasn't our night.
Was there an effect from the wind?
Being in the press box, I can't tell that. It didn't feel like it was that windy, and we missed them going both directions, so I doubt it.
When teams take that approach, and particularly a young guy like Brad, what's the biggest challenge for him? And obviously he's got to make quick decisions, get the ball out pretty quick.
Yeah, pressure really wasn't an issue. I thought our offensive line did a really good job picking it up. It was just, got to figure out a way to make those plays, and whether that's me making sure that we have better schemes that are more adaptable, or making corrections.
When he has a game like that and he still passes for 500 yards, I mean, a couple decisions you'd like back, but is it kind of remind you that he is a freshman sometimes? I mean, when everyone likes to forget about that, when he has 500 yards, that is a great game, but there's still some moments that obviously he would like to improve.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I would say is we're not going to ever use him as being a freshman as an excuse. He's our quarterback, and obviously, it wasn't just him. I mean, it was overall things we got to do better, and so I really don't want to dwell on it anymore. It gets me upset, and at the end of the day, there's nothing else I can do about it. Nothing else we can do about it. We learned from it. We watched the film. We went out and made those corrections last night, and we're on to Air Force, and they're a 12th ranked defense in the country. So if our minds aren't focused on them fully, then shame on us. So to be honest, we can say what if all we want. Y'all can ask all the questions you want, which I understand is part of the job. But the answer is we didn't get it done, and we're moving on to Air Force. So that's the answer.
What do they do defensively that makes it so good?
Man, they're very disciplined. It feels like I put on a tape recorder. They blitz like crazy, blitz both sides, off the edge, internal, play man-to-man defense, very fundamentally sound, got great schemes, good players, and do a good job, challenging everything you try to do. The run game, they try to have an extra hat in the box. In the pass game, they're going to make you earn every throw, and if the ball's not accurate, it's not going to be completed. And so,
when teams are playing you this way, I mean, it's I think 5 of the last 7 or something has been this kind of blitz heavy. How much of a challenge is it to run I mean, is it taking the run away a little bit because so many teams are playing the extra guy up front?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to be smart about it. You can't just sit there and beat your head against the wall. You got to be able to take what the defense gives you, and that's the fine line. And we're throwing the ball at a high clip, but it's really because that's what we have to do, in order to have success offensively, with the way the numbers are set up schematically.
With Brett, an 19-year-old that's a true freshman, he threw the ball 75 times. It's probably about 40 more opportunities to make a mistake than what you normally have in a football game, maybe for him. But a backwards pass here, maybe a check there. What's it like to sit down with him during the week and obviously make those learning experiences and see him react to those?
The thing is, nobody's harder on Brett Rippon than Brett Rippon, and so there's a fine line of, teachable moments, but not hurting his confidence. He makes decisions, and it's easy for people to criticize and judge, and including me after the fact. But the guy's making decisions at, a 90 mile an hour pace, and he's got people coming in as blitzes, and there's crowd and all that stuff, and he's done a really good job. So, he learns from it. He doesn't make the same mistake twice. He made a couple of decisions that, had he executed, would have been fine. The execution wasn't exactly the way we wanted it to be, and but we're not disappointed in him, and I got a lot of confidence, and Yeah, he threw it 75 times, you know, and we needed to throw it every one of those to try to dig our way out of it.
And all 3 interceptions were on tipped balls, and it seemed like there were some other drops on some plays that may have gone for some big yards. I don't know if you guys charted and counted how many drops there were, maybe touch nose, but I mean, is there something common thread, or what did you see from the receivers? It was just one of those nights where the ball didn't stick in their hands? Or?
Yeah, you know, one of those deals. You know,
Sheer number of plays, 114 plays on offense. You ever come close to that anywhere?
Can't say that I have. I probably have, you know, just being in this style of offense, but no, I can't. I can't say that I have.
Physically, what does that do to an offense? Do they get run down, or is it harder on the defense?
Well, hopefully it's harder on the defense. You know, hopefully you wear them down. The only thing is we weren't really able to wear them down with the run game because we were forced to pass it so much in that fourth quarter. Ideally, you'd like to get that many plays and wear them down and be able to bleed them out in the fourth quarter with the run game, but just weren't able to do that. So that's ideally where you'd like to be. BJ, back to your question as far as the drops and all that. We chart all that stuff. We know what it is, but like I said earlier, it doesn't really do us any good to assign blame or say this or say that because the result doesn't change, the outcome doesn't change. The reality is we didn't get it done. We're moving on. We're playing the 12th ranked defense in the country, leader of our division right now, and you know our attention better be 100% on them, or you know bad things happen.
Brett seems like a pretty even keel kid, never too high, never too low. But you said no one's harder on himself than him. What's he like with you when he comes off the sideline after a mistake and he's talking to you up in the booth? Is he still pretty even keel, or do you have to bring him down sometimes, or what's he like?
Yeah, I mean he's pretty even keel. You know, he knows before anybody says anything to him. You know, he's a student of the game. He understands, and so yeah, he's pretty even keel during the game.
With Jeremy, he was in terms of ball security, he was so good for so long in back-to-back games with kind of costly fumbles. Is that something you kind of talk with him about? And was that on the pitch on that last one, or is he? I mean, does he got to have to secure that obviously before making a cut?
Well, we talk about ball security every single day, and we're going to continue to talk about it. We're going to continue to emphasize it, and we're going to get better at it. And that's the only thing I can say. And at the end of the day, that ball on the ground just can't happen for whatever reason it did. It's on a lot of different things. Like I said before, there's no reason to go back and point fingers or put blame. If you want to blame anybody, you know, ultimately I'm the offensive coordinator. So, you know, these kids are playing hard. They made mistakes. They've owned up to them. We've talked to them about them. But, you know, there's nothing else we can do about it, and we're moving on to Air Force.
What kind of problems does Steelhammer give you?
He's a really good player, ball hawking safety, does a great job jumping routes, good hitter. He's a good player, disguises a lot of his coverages. He's a factor, one of the better safeties in this conference for sure.
You guys saw that in person last year?
Yeah, we sure did. Yeah, he was a real factor in our game.
Against a team like Air Force and teams like to run the ball, and how important is it to continue to find that offensive rhythm and make sure that you're doing your guys' part on that side of the ball?
Well, the most important thing is for us to put points on the board. At the end of the day, that's what our job is. All the yards in the world don't mean much if you don't score points, and that's our job. You know, we had way too many opportunities to put points on the board and didn't do it. And so whether we get limited opportunities or more opportunities or whatever, our job is to put points on the board. I felt like, to be honest, we were in a great rhythm offensively until we got into, you know, this tipped ball or that tipped ball or this fumble. But as far as moving the ball from the 20 until the 15 or the 10, it's as good as I've been around in a long time. I mean, but it doesn't matter if you don't finish.
Obviously, replacing anybody who's injured is tough, but is it even tougher when it's a guy like Shane and he's got such a unique skill set and you got to bring another receiver in? And just talk about how hard and how important Shane is to this offense, how hard it is to replace a guy like him.
Did Coach say something about Shane?
No, I just meant for the New Mexico game when he was gone after he got hurt. I didn't mean for the next game, sorry. He did say he was hopeful to practice.
He mentioned his ankles.
He said he was hopeful to practice.
don't know anything about Friday yet.
The thing I would say about Shane in the New Mexico game was, hey, if somebody goes down, it's our job to have people backed up and prepared and ready to go. And Shane's a great player on offense, and he's somebody that we count on. But it's our job to have somebody else ready to go. And been a lot of those situations offensively so far for us this year. Having to replace different looks with different people, and it is what it is. It's part of the game. And I can distinctly remember sitting here in August saying it never goes the way you think it's going to go, and I kind of wish I wouldn't have said that. I kind of wish I'd have said it goes exactly the way you think it goes, but it hasn't. And for whatever reason, that's the case, and it's our jobs to have a backup plan, and then after that plan, have a plan C, D, E, and F all the way down, because that's our jobs.
Brett was saying he really struggled in the spring, and particularly mechanically, and getting through some things, and took a while even into fall camp to get comfortable. How did you sort of see his progress through the year, from January, February to where he was August, September?
Yeah, I think we've kind of been honest about that the whole time. He struggled in spring, trying to figure everything out, bright-eyed, and figuring out school and doing this whole thing. And summer worked extremely hard, got better. Fall camp, settled in. First scrimmage was just okay. Second scrimmage was a lot better, gave us confidence that, hey, he could come in and play if we needed him to. And then when he got his opportunity, he took off with it. And that's kind of the maturation of him so far.
With I think we probably you ask probably 80% of freshmen or whatnot that play football or any sport for that matter. They say they don't know what they're majoring in, and he says he's majoring in international business and might minor in a foreign language like Mandarin or French or whatnot. I mean, how much does he have it pretty much all put together, and how helpful is that out of a kid that plays a pretty important position, obviously?
Yeah, his parents have done a great job. His parents have done a great job raising him, and by no means is he a finished product. He'll probably change his major 3 times, Jay, but at least he knows what. No, he's a good kid. We're glad he's a Bronco.
First was saying part of why you brought him out here today was the leadership aspect of kind of standing up, saying here's what we need to do these last couple of weeks, and how he's obviously in a different situation as a freshman to be put in a leadership role. How does he kind of fit into that role?
I think he's done a good job commanding the offense, commanding the group. He's got good leaders surrounding him with Marcus Henry, and that's been good for him. But he does a good job. He lets those guys know when it's time to go.
He was saying, he felt like maybe more than anything, he wanted to be better in terms of just the mentality day in, day out, going out to practice and getting after it maybe a little bit more in practice. Is that him just, being hard on himself, or is there something there where, can be better there?
I like his mentality. If that's where he feels like he needs to improve, then, anybody that says they don't need to get better at practice is probably not the guy you want. This is a guy who understands the importance of practice and preparation, and I'm sure glad he's on our football team.
Horse pretty much said, looking for guys to make some plays, particularly running back, that might be different guys because you guys aren't getting it done. How much has that hurt you guys that you haven't had an answer behind Jeremy?
I don't like to point out anything other than people's successes and my failures. These guys are, 18 to 22-year-old kids who put themselves out there, and like I said, it's it's not easy, and that running back position practices really hard every day, and competition's a great thing, and we need to do a better job of creating competition, and that's really the best I'm going to say about it. We're going to compete. We're going to let some other people have a shot at the competition, but what they have or haven't done is not. That's not the reason I don't believe that we got it done. Didn't get it done Saturday. It was a collective effort of everybody on the offensive side of the ball, whether it was the quarterback, tailback, wide receiver, O-line, tight ends. There was all things that when you watch that film, we all said, "No, I could do that better. I should have done this, or I could have done that." And we learned from it. We're moving on.
Time for 2 more, guys.
Kid like Terrell Johnson might get a little bit of more of an opportunity to play wide receiver with what's happened to Shane and Achille. I'm just curious on how you've seen him kind of handle it and waiting for an opportunity. I know he got a chance to return some kicks, but how waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah, nobody works harder than Terrell. We're excited. This guy puts in the time and the effort, and now it's time for him to step up and do what he can do to help us and understand whatever role that Coach Adams decides to put him in to make sure he's ready to accomplish what he needs to do.
All good, guys? Thanks, Coach. Thanks, guys.